Welcome to my kitchen again. I'm Nandita. Today we're going to make one more tea from my newest book, 7 Pots of Tea. This is an Awla and green tea. So let's get started and I'll talk to you a little bit about what the two main ingredients are. Of course, the tea has green tea, and I'll tell you a little bit about the green tea I've chosen for this one in a bit. But the star ingredient of this is Awla. Awla is Indian Gooseberry. Now, it's different from what we've seen in the traditional markets of the Cape gooseberries. This gooseberry looks like, a little key lime. It's about the size of a key lime. And when it is ripe and fresh, it is bright chartreuse green and it is bursting with flavors. It actually has more vitamin C than a normal orange. But you obviously don't get the fruit all year round, and of course you don't get the fruit here. So in most cases, in most markets, in your grocery store, you will not find the Indian gooseberry, but you will find it in the dried form in an Asian market or an Indian grocery store. Now in the zoom shot, you'll see I have the dried gooseberry. It looks like a little candy, but it looks like a little dried fruit here. You get it in two forms. You get it in this dried form, and I have on hand a different version. I'll have it in comparison. This is the candied gooseberry. Now, the candied gooseberry is obviously going to be sweet, and it has been preserved in sugar. This gooseberry is more for fun, more as a candy, and I wouldn't use it in making the tea unless you're looking for the added sugar. What you're looking for this tea is this particular one, the dried gooseberry that does not have any sugar added to it. It's pretty hard and tough, but it'll soften up in the tea. Now this tea gets made in two steps. The first part is to soften the Awla. So this is going to take a little bit of time. So I'm going to get my kettle started. You can do this on the stove top, and that's fine too. This is just for the ease of showing you what the colors look like and how the tea gets made. So I'm going to start the kettle on. And this is about 1 liter of water. For about this much, I'm going to add about 6 of these pieces. You can add more. It'll make the liquid really tart. I'm going to add it in there. Now, Awla itself, as I said, has a lot of vitamin C, which is basically, it means that it's tart in flavor. And as a fruit, it has a lot of antioxidants, but of course you have to activate it since it is in dried form. In terms of Ayurveda, it's one of those unique fruits that has all the flavors or the rasas except for salty. So Awla is considered sweet, it's bitter, it has a sour tone, it is astringent, it is pungent, but it's not salty. In this tea, we're also going to use some ginger. Now, ginger is pungent. It, according to Ayurveda, has the pungent rasa and also is sweet. And we will be using green tea, which is bitter and sweet according to Ayurveda. Now, in order to activate it, I'm going to let this sit in a pot for a little bit and let it start bubbling up. So it's quite literally, we're going to watch it brew. This may take a little while, so you may want to turn this up and leave it and walk away and come back in 5 minutes and see what the colors look like. But as the water starts boiling, you'll start seeing that this starts taking on a light yellowish tinge, which is reminiscent of the chartreuse green color that it has when the fruit is fresh. Now, let me tell you a little story about Awla. At my parents' place in India, for the longest time, the tree doesn't exist anymore, but there used to be one single Awla tree outside my parents' bedroom window, and it's a fruit that is available only in the summer. But essentially it would form little bunches along the branches, and really, really small bunches of this fruit. This was the smaller of the gooseberries, And it was my favorite thing to go and look for it and grab whatever fruit I could find, of course, if the animals let it alone, because it was, of course, favored by the animals as well. So this is starting to boil, and we're going to watch and wait and see how it goes. As you can tell, this kettle had an auto shut off, and so when the water was done boiling, it did shut off. But you can see that the color of the water has gone from being white to being this light tan color. Now, it's too hot for me to add the green tea leaves to it right now, and if I add anything else, it'll just become too strong. So we're going to let this kind of let go of the steam for a little bit, and I'm going to bring this into the main frame so we can see. And in here, we're going to add some green tea. Now, you can choose your favorite green tea and brew it according to its instructions for steep time. This one, I am using a premium jasmine green. Now, I particularly have a fondness for jasmine green, and it is fragrant on its own, which helps this one because you also want a little bit of fragrance. Oh my, this is really good. Alright, and I also have some freshly chopped ginger, and I'm going to deal with the ginger in a bit. Now, ginger is a rhizome. It's very important in Ayurveda, and in order for this tea to absorb and take some of the ginger nutrients and the ginger flavor, you're going to want to use fresh ginger, chop it up really fine because we're going to strain it, and I'm going to add a couple of about a pinch. You can add a little more. I'm going to add a pinch of the freshly grated ginger to this. And while this is still hot, what I am going to do is add, as I said, we have about a liter of water, and for the purposes of our tea, I'm going to add 2 heaped tablespoons of tea to this. This will, oh my, it's very fragrant already. But in order to get it activated, what I'm going to do is see if this will steep a little more again. So I've set it to boil, and again, the tea is ready to boil. So I don't want this to get too strong, so just a light boil. And there we have it. This is going to be a very fragrant and a delicious tea. So let me get my cup and strainer ready. You guys have seen me talk about a strainer before. You get them in different sizes. You want a fine mesh strainer that is handheld so you can hold it and control it. And also something, if you can have a handle, choose one that has a handle so your hands are not too close to the strainer itself, because you're, after all, pouring hot water. And so you want to keep your hands as far away from this portion as you can. Find a heat-safe cup or your favorite cup, and move that to the side. Pour away. And there you have another delicious Awla green tea using dried awla that you can find in the ethnic store. Now, if some of you are curious about what this does, as I said before, awla is essentially has even more vitamin C than an orange, and so it's a really good immunity booster. All of this all of these ingredients that I use in my teas are meant to do something or the other, where you're either exploring a flavor, you're using it as a warming or a cooling tea for yourself, and this is all in the context of Ayurveda. Awla is considered cooling. Both tea and ginger are warming. So here we have both of them, and they're balancing out, and they all have different impacts on your dosha. So as you're tasting these and you're trying them out, keep a check on how it affects your dosha, and you'll see whether you need to reduce one ingredient and change it based on your own personal profile and see what works for you. But I bet, regardless of what's going on the other side and whether you're interested in Ayurveda or not, I bet you're going to really like tasting and having a cup of Awla Ginger Green Tea. Enjoy.